Alright, we are officially cleared out of Australia.
Indonesia, here we come!
We have our final Australian wildfire. The seaweed has been popping the trim tab. It popped it off and then the bolt sheared. And this is the trim tab.
Good?
Oh, that's so hard.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna do the lashing.
Okay.
It's day of departure. It's blowing so hard in the anchorage and there's a strong wind warning, which is just kind of classic weather that we've gotten in Australia. Never really blowing less than 25 here. It means that the first 2 days it's going to be blowing 25 to 30 with 8-foot seas at 6 seconds. The only redeeming grace is that it's from behind. Otherwise, it's going to be really rough and it's going to kind of suck. But just getting up and seeing how windy it is in the anchorage and, you know, motoring up against the wind so that Dan can get the anchor up, it's a bit disheartening, to be honest. Kind of tired of leaving in these sorts of conditions, but here we are, so on to the customs dock. We're off the hook. We're just gonna put out the new roller furling head sail, what up, and sail over to the dock. We left pretty early. We wanted to have a lot of time to get over there and just tie up and chill, eat breakfast once we were there. We figured we don't really want to be late. Australian border force sounds pretty like hardcore. I don't know. New Zealand, they had really strict rules, but they were really nice about it. And Australia, I feel like they can be really nice about it, but they also can be not nice about it, and I don't really know which we're gonna get. So, although the lady we talked to on the phone to schedule our appointment was just so nice, so I feel like it's gonna be fine. Anyway, get the sails out and sail off away from the sunset. Look at that, just rolled right on out. We're gonna turn off the engine and just sail over.
To not worry about the
Gecko has been in Australia for 10 months now, and it's finally time to take her to another country. Dan and I are leaving Darwin today to sail about 600 nautical miles northish to Kupang in Indonesia. We're clearing into Indonesia without an agent, so there's not 100% guarantee that everything will go smoothly, but we're happily taking on the risk as it saves us hundreds of dollars. Our first stop is the customs dock, where we'll clear out of Australia, and then it's the open ocean.
just a partially reefed sail. So chill. Just coming into the Bayview Marina, or the outside of, where the customs dock is. There's something always sort of, it feels wrong being this close to land on a boat.
I know.
Going boat. I don't like it very much, if I'm being honest. How much do you like it, if you're being honest?
Not really at all either.
Not really at all either.
No.
No.
We are on the fuel dock, which is also the ferry dock. It's very commercial, kind of cool. Giant cleats. Very good. It's really intense. We were just kind of, I don't know how to do roller furling stuff, and I know it's not hard, but it definitely takes some getting used to, and it was blowing 20 and we were just trying to figure everything out. And yeah, it was just a lot for first thing in the morning.
When I led the furling line aft to the cockpit, I used a bunch of super old gear I had lying around, including this spare lead. It completely sheared off this morning when we were furling the sail in a strong gust, and now the run goes over the jib sheet block, which may or may not get in the way, but luckily it's still at the correct angle to the winch, so I don't have to worry about getting riding turns when I'm reefing. So we'll just see how it goes on this passage. May or may not have to change it.
We're just sort of getting everything else ready to go, because once we clear out, we're leaving. So we have about 40 minutes before they arrive, and we're also filling diesel and fuel, because it's a fuel and diesel dock, and we just have the 2 jerrys we need to fill, so it's a pretty easy thing to do here. Dan's making us BLTs for breakfast, because, you know, we want to treat ourselves last day here. Last opportunity to buy meat and eat it the same day for quite a while. T-minus 15 minutes until customs arrives, so we're just gonna drink tea, eat. The boat's all ready to go. We're all sea stowed. We have all our gas and stuff, so we're just gonna wait for them. Super chill.
So I wasn't allowed to film while customs and immigration were on board, but basically what happened is that we tied up to the dock. They came on board. Before they touched the boat, they said, when we step off the boat, you have to immediately leave the dock and you're not allowed to make any more stops. You're off, you're gone, you're away. Are you prepared to do that? And I said yes. And then they stepped on board and they did a thorough inspection of the boat, I guess, to make sure we weren't smuggling anything out of the country. I'm not really sure. Exotic animals was our guess. Checked the anchor chain locker. So while I was being asked questions, Dan was showing the other guy around the boat. He came in, you know, and they come in with the gloves on, they mean business, and we're like, have at it. I mean, all you're gonna find is a bunch of apples, and my bad. But yeah, then we took off, and that was that. Goodbye, Australia.
All right, we are officially cleared out of Australia, and
Yeah, I found the anchor locker log.
oh yeah.
He was like, oh, and you change your sits now pretty bad. I found that, and I was like, I had this stinky covered in it. Yep.
That's funny. Yeah, they did a search of the boat. I'll talk more about it once we get underway, but it was quite the process. Anyway, we're gonna leave the dock and start sailing. We're starting to set up the whisker pole, but it's gonna be a starboard side setup, so we're not gonna put it up until we're off the dock, otherwise we'll just smack every single one of these on the way down.
Holly always gets dressed up for customs, so I think she's a presentable and respectful lady. So this is how she looks right now. I give her 10 minutes till all the clothes are off.
We have our final Australian wildfire waving us goodbye. I just watched this go from nothing to that huge amount of smoke. Just crossing the channel. The wind's pretty up and down right now. We're in a bit of a down, so I let out some more sail, which is fun. We're right on the edge of needing the whisker pole, but I think once we get away from land, it'll all even out.
It's not quite the 25 to 30 knots that was predicted, which is really awesome. I'm not sure if that's because we're so close to land or if the forecast was wrong, but either way I'm taking it. It's a really nice amount of wind, and we're still in the lee of Australia, so we don't have too much fetch either.
The clear out process was pretty bizarre compared to other countries that I've been to, any other country that I've been to. Two people came on board, and one of them went through the boat, and then while he was going through the boat, the lady was just asking us a bunch of questions. Like, she'd done background research on us, not targeting her out specifically. I think this is just protocol, but she knew I had a YouTube channel, and it felt like she knew some facts about me that she was asking to see if I would tell the truth about them or not. But she asked all these questions about me and about Dan and where he came from and what boat he was working on before he came to Australia. It was a boat that didn't even go to Australia. And then they told us that we had to leave instantly. As soon as they stepped off the boat, they stood on the dock and waited until we undid the dock lines and motored away. So it was all just very funny. We were prepared for that, so we were ready to go, but it was just interesting. I mean, a lot of countries give you 24 hours to leave. New Zealand has a grace period of a couple hours. Like, they're not trying to get you out of there within the minute. Yeah, Dan said the guy was looking up the passports with a magnifying glass thingy. For a really long time, he had Dan's passport for a couple minutes, looking at it and looking at the cover page. I don't know what they were thinking we were gonna do or try to get away with. Then they gave us this little kit that if we see any suspicious activity or suspicious boats, it had a pen and some forms and stuff, and you fill it out and you let them know. I mean, they do have quite a large maritime border, which is the entire country, so I think in the same way that countries like the US, where we have borders with Canada and the US and it's all highly regulated, Australia is just an island, so I think they're pretty careful with their maritime borders. But it's cool to be leaving Australia for Indo. It's a really cold day. Today's big southerly winds blowing. Darwin felt, I was kind of simultaneously, I really did want to leave and really didn't want to leave. And then yesterday was our last day, and I was having all of these feelings like, oh, the red dirt is all over my sail and my halyards, and it's really cool, and Australia is such a cool country with such fun people. You know, every time I'm about to leave a country, I always have these, what is it, the like distance makes you, the heart grow fonder sort of feelings for whatever country I'm leaving, but also just putting it into perspective of, you know, you get used to wherever you are. So I'm definitely gonna miss it, but very excited to have the Gek in Indonesia, some place I never knew if I would get there or not on my boat, so it's fun to be getting there. I have the head sail partially reefed. Took some of the rolls out of it. Is that what you say it when you're rolling and unrolling it? I unrolled a bit more when about an hour after we left. The wind dropped a bit, but right now we're still in the lee of the land, so I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. And I'm guessing that the wind and the waves are gonna pick up, because that's what always happens, but yeah, I'm not sure about sail configuration yet, so it still all feels very temporary. But we do run along the land for a ways before we kind of leave it behind, so that's kind of nice. Keeps everything a bit flatter for a bit longer. The first sunset of the passage, the wind's just completely died off. I knew that we were going to be in the wind shadows, but I thought that because it was so windy the first 2 days we weren't going to get any of them. It was just going to blow straight through, but it seems like we're in one right now. But it's pretty nice weather. The seas aren't big, the wind is chill. We have not full sail up, but a nice amount. Yeah, it's nice that it's mellow, but there's also a part of me that knows it's going to come back in strong, but probably not all at once, so we'll just pay attention and start twisting in the head sail as the wind picks up, and then eventually if it gets back up to what it was, we'll just drop the main and be under head sail, because that's just such a fun, lazy way to sail, and why not do it if it works. Oh, yes, please. Yeah, I should do some more recording too about the night. We have a big ship passing us from behind. It's quite busy out here. One ship not on the AIS last night, but I only saw because I went out because we rounded up a bit on the course. I had a way changed direction to pass them without hitting them. So that was lucky. This guy showed up on the AIS, we hailed him. He's just going around us. I don't know what kind of ship it is that is really cool looking. Prison ship, maybe? Last night, the wind picked up pretty strong, like we sort of had suspected. And it was really nice with the furler. Dan and I were both kind of tweaking the sail, but as the wind picked up enough that we dropped the main, and then I don't know, even when I'm sleeping I can just kind of tell what the sail is doing, or what the boat is doing, and it'll wake me up when we get overpowered, because it kind of just it's like a bee stung a horse. So anyway, I just furled in the sail a bit until it started to feel better, but then Dan told me this morning that the furl wasn't very good, because it was dark and I just assumed it would furl up, so I guess that's something that I should pay attention to next time I do, is just bring a flashlight out and furl it in. But I kind of feel like someone from the 1700s who's just been shown indoor plumbing, and I can't believe it, but as I say it, I know that this is pretty much everyone else's lives, but maybe you can live vicariously through my excitement. Anyway, it's become quite lumpy out here, quite windy, but this should all die off in about 24 hours, which is nice, because right now it's a bit too wavy to do much besides lie down. And I think once this passes, the waves die down again, and it should be a nice last 3 days of passage. 485 miles total to get to Kupang, and we're making really good speed because it's so windy, so we just have just the head sail up. That's all we need. The seaweed has been popping the trim tab off the wind vane, and I think it popped it off and then the bolt sheared because we started to round up, and this is the trim tab and it's supposed to be there, but there's seaweed on the back of it. So I'm gonna have to get in water basically, hence the swimsuit, and get another bolt. I don't have one that's thick enough. The only one I have that's long enough is about half the right size. Which means that there's a high chance that if we get more seaweed on here, it's just gonna pop off again. So I might try to do some sort of like an extra lashing onto this just to make sure it stays stronger, and then we're gonna have to start cleaning the seaweed off the back every time we see it. When this broke in New Zealand, it happened to break on a really becalmed day, and right now we have huge following seas, so it's gonna be pretty unpleasant. I'm gonna harness in, tie myself on basically as tight as I can so that I can still work, but that's the extent to which I can go, and just prepare to be swimming for a bit. Ugh. So I'm rooting around, and for the reinforcing stick I just have this piece of track that we cut off. This is a foil for the new head sail. This will be a pretty good length, and then I'm just gonna lash it and tape it. So I'm gonna stage all this stuff on the leeward side of the boat for Dan to pass to me, so that I only have to do this maneuver once.
How you tie it up?
Oh, I was gonna have you cleat this off at the right length once I'm on the finger.
Which cleat?
This one probably. I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little bit. We still need to maintain steerage. Yeah. Okay, can I have the bolt and the easy nut? Sorry.
Well, what do you want me to do?
If you can just keep us running with the waves, I think that's the best.
Bolt first?
I'll take them both.
Okay.
Yeah, I need anyway, all as possible.
Huh?
Alright, take this back. This is gonna be almost impossible.
I believe in you, darling. Big wave.
Nut, please.
Yep. Take that on.
What?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Do you need a second?
I'm just gonna take a second. I trapped my finger between the
Yeah, probably more than once.
jaws.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can see the pinch on it. Good work though.
Okay, can I have the ratchet?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, the one thing I forgot to get is a screwdriver.
Oh yeah. You got a wrench.
I need a screwdriver for the other end.
Okay.
Grab that. Okay, the wind vane paddle is reattached. Can you steer the boat so that this guy stays in the center? Okay. Trade that up for the wrench.
Good.
Oh, fuck, that's so hard.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm gonna do the lashing.
Okay.
All right, so I've just done a lashing just to kind of help this guy stay on. It's pretty similar to the lashing I did under the engine. I don't trust it to pop off again. This is the third time it's happened, and I really don't want to have to do this again. So that's hopefully gonna keep it together until we get in. And even if the red tab thing pops off again, I'm hoping that this will save it enough that we just need to start checking it when we're doing our checks to make sure it's all still attached. But hopefully that'll kind of keep it together or reinforce it enough that the bolt doesn't shear again when it goes in the wrong direction. So yeah, quite the workout trying to stay on the back of the boat in these waves.
Thanks for watching this week's video, just the first installment of the passage to Indonesia. That wind vane fix was so hard. I wish I'd gotten a better angle of it, but in the time all I could think about was the fix. But basically my legs were in the water the entire time, and I was using my legs and feet to hold on to the wind vane while I leaned my entire body out over, held the paddle in place while the waves were knocking me around, and my body was just cramped and pinching, and being at the level of the waves and looking up and seeing these huge following seas just towering 6-7 feet over my head was pretty insane. I don't know, I guess if I'd been doing this solo, what I would have done is I would have had to heave to, because the only way I could do this was that Dan was doing a really good job of keeping the boat with the waves directly behind it. But then hove to, it would have been really hard because the wind vane paddle would have been kind of pushing all over the place. I definitely could have done it, but it was way easier with another person. And a stronger, beefier pin for the wind vane tab is definitely in my future. This is the second time that pin has sheared, and it always happens because the tab pops up because it gets a bunch of seaweed on it, and then when it's popped up, it's really vulnerable because all the forces are acting on this one pin, and it's not designed, like this is the, mirror image weird. Okay, this is the back of the boat, this is the wind vane. When the trim tab is down, it's locked into place, so it has two places where it's connected, but when it's popped up, it's also moving this way, and that's when the pin shears off. So I am thinking that for my longer ocean passages, when I'm not going to be popping the trim tab up anyway, I might just do that sort of reinforcing where I take a piece of wood or metal and lash it off to the tab so that it can't pop up and come off again, because 2 times in 2 years is more than what I want to deal with, and putting myself over the back of my boat like that just is not a pleasant experience. So things to think about for future ocean passages. Anyway, I put out new videos every 2 weeks on YouTube, and for my patrons, you guys get a snack on the weeks that I don't put out a full-length YouTube video. Thank you so much to all of my patrons who are supporting me and making this trip possible. If you'd like to become a patron and get access to that exclusive bi-weekly content that I don't put up on YouTube, you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/windhippie. And for one-time donations, if you just want to help me out, buy me a beer, buy me a pin for my wind vane, I have a PayPal, paypal.me/windhippie. I have merchandise, everything in the link below here. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for following along on the journey, and see you in 2 weeks on YouTube with the next installment of my episode of Getting to Indonesia.